Have you thought about, or do you dream of doing your own camel trek one day? In this episode, I'm going to give you some words of wisdom and also some practical advice on how you can finally achieve those camel trekking goals and dreams. Let's get started. Hey there, my name is Tara Lee and you're listening to the Camel Channel Podcast. I'm thrilled you're here once again. If you're a regular listener, and if you're a first time listener, absolutely 100% welcome. I am here to help make your wildest camel dreams and goals come true. And when I say wildest, that could mean something small, that could mean something big, but I'm here to help you make those camel dreams and goals a possibility and to execute them, make them a thing in your life, because you know what? Life is too damn short not to do what you bloody well want to do. End of story. And with that being said, I also offer some practical advice, and this episode is all about this camel trek that you want to do, this camel idea that you want to do. And if you don't want to do a trek and you just have a camel idea, I'm pretty sure you're going to get some valuable information out of this anyhow. So keep listening, because we're going to dive deep into this topic, a little bit about my experience in planning for camel treks and just doing it. So we're definitely going to take on a bit of the Nike slogan here of just do it. And people can say things like, well, just do it. And you're like, yeah, but how? I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't have the confidence. I don't have this. I don't have it. All the things. I know, because I've been there. And you know what it comes down to? And the hilarious thing that I realized when I went to achieve a big goal of executing my own camel trek, I've done a couple of charity treks, but one in particular was a solo one. And I wanted to do it. I knew I wanted to do it. Of course I wanted to do it. And so when you have a dream and a goal, first there's the desire, there's that needing, that wanting, that thing that you want. There's that seed idea. I want it. And then there's like, okay, I know I want this, but how on earth do I do this? Like, help me. And that's where a lot of people, and I would say a large sum of people, like 90% of people will go, okay, I want this thing. I don't know how to do it. Okay, well, it's not going to happen. Don't do that. Don't be that person. Just don't be that person. The funny thing that I realized with achieving a lot of my camel trekking goals and dreams, or anything to do with camels or anything in life really, is like I over dramatize it in my head. I'm like, I know I want this thing, but then, oh my gosh, I have to be that person and do that thing, and I need all the things, and I'm money and time and all the things and things and things. And I ended up being a victim to my own goals and dreams. Like, someone please explain that. Can you relate? Have you ever had something really big, a big idea in your life, and you're like, I really want to do the thing, and then you literally victimize yourself for having this goal and dream, because you don't know the how, you don't know the when, you don't know the what, you don't know all the things, and you literally make yourself a victim to your own goals and dreams. What the hell? We are a crazy bunch of people. Like, us human species, we are really funny. Animals, they have it so much more simpler in life. They have a goal to reach a certain plant that's extremely up high, talking for a camel here, and they just go and get it. We just overcomplicate the crap out of it. So that is a little bit of my funny story, and I think most of us can relate how we make ourselves a victim to our own desires. Seriously, like, we've got to change that story around. I get I do a lot of phone calls with people for the introductory call, which, you know, if you want one, you can have one over my website, camelchannel.com. And so many people tell me their dreams and goals and what they want to do with camels. And I would say, out of all the calls that I do, I would probably 90% of those people, 10% of those people will either sign up for, you know, the academy and get started with their camel goals and dreams, and other people, they're just like, oh, it was an idea and it was fun to talk about, but it's just kind of feels too hard now. And it's a real shame, because I honestly do feel like life is really short, and I really truly believe that we don't just get ideas and desires just for the sake of getting ideas and desires. Like, we have to have a motivation in life. And if you're not comparing yourself to other people, someone could be doing something you want to do, and that can be an act of inspiration, or it can be like something you're comparing to, like, oh, well, they're doing that thing, and now I want to do that thing because I just want to prove or be better than, or whatever. And there's a vast difference between those two things. But if you act on inspiration and make your desire your own, so like somebody's doing something you want to do, okay, well, there's that little seed idea that's happened to you that, okay, so and so's doing this awesome camel track, damn, I would love to do something like that for myself. Maybe not as elaborate, or maybe more elaborate, or whatever it is, but you literally make it your own. And I found a really good way, like, everybody processes things differently, obviously, but a good way is to write it out, or think it out, or talk it out with a good friend or a family member, and just go, oh, there's this really fun thing I want to do, and I just want to blurt it out. I don't need advice, and I just want to get it out in the open, because then it's out in the open. And that's the other big thing too, is when you get it out in the open, this dream and desire that you have to trek with camels, or whatever it is to do with camels or with life, if you get it out in the open, it is out in the open. It is like literally creating momentum for things to fall in place, for those things to happen. So don't be one of those people that go, that's a nice idea, and I'd really, in quotes, love to do that, and not take any action. Do you know what? Because the love isn't there. If you really want to do that thing, and you would love to do it, in quotes, you will take action on it. And there's definitely I find in our society, like, we have a bit of a tendency to be lazy with our thoughts and with our desires, because everything is instant, like with social media, even meals these days, like a lot of things are instant and fast paced. And if it can't happen now, then it's like we've evolved into these species. It's like, well, it can't happen now, it's not really going to happen. But it's like we have to kind of step back in time a little bit, go, well, these things take time. It takes time to plan a camel trek, especially if you've literally got no camels yet. That stuff takes time. So that's what I want to talk to you about today, and give you some practical steps amongst everything I've just discussed on how you can actually put into momentum this thing. Now, if you're a bit of a spiritual person like myself, just a quick word of what's happening in the energy as I speak with this podcast. So it is April now, and I did the full moon energy forecast a couple of episodes back, or maybe just an episode back, and it was all about how this full moon energy, behind it is the force to help your camel dreams and goals, or any dreams and goals, help them bear fruit and get momentum and start happening, and to utilize that energy that's behind the planetary forces, for lack of a better word, to get shit happening with your goals and dreams, because now is the time. And being at the end of April now, we're also coming into the new moon it's March. It's April in a couple of days. So the March full moon energy, and now we're coming into April. The April new moon is a very similar lines of things, this momentum building thing. Like, you can choose the energy around the April new moon is sort of like, well, you could choose to either take the hard path, like there's something really difficult, or you could choose to focus on something that's a little bit easier. And the encouragement is the easier thing, not the hard thing, because you're just going to sort of spiral. So with that being said, if you are one of these people that have a big camel dream or goal, and let's just take, for instance, a camel trek, let's just sort of unpack this a little bit. And I want you to take notes, whether that be mentally or on a piece of paper, and just start writing out, okay, what does this camel trek look like for you? Remember, you're declaring this as your own. It doesn't have to be like somebody else is doing it. It can be similar, and that inspiration is there, and thank you for that inspiration, but let's make it your own. Like, okay, I want to do my own camel trek because I saw XYZ doing it. It looks amazing. I'd love to have that experience on my own, but I don't feel like I have the confidence. Okay, why don't I have the confidence? Oh, because I don't feel like I can do it as good as that person. You see this comparability, if that's a word. You're already comparing yourself. That has to stop. That has to stop in order for you to get the things that you want out of your camel experience. Sure, we can improve on our skills, and that's probably why you're listening, and you watch my videos and you listen here and you follow me on socials, is you want to improve on your camel skills. And that's great, but you got to stop with the comparing, because you can never, ever, ever, ever do something like somebody else is doing it. You just can't. Sure, things might be similar, but you're not going to be able to do it the same as that person. And I definitely find it's a reoccurring theme in the camel world, is people trying to replicate what other people do. And that just has to stop because you've got to make it your own and have your own experience and do your own thing. And also I find when this comparing thing comes in, that's when shit hits the fan. That's when accidents happen. That's when, you try to do it somebody's way, or the way that somebody else did it or similar, and it's not working out, and it ends up a failed plan anyway. So that's just a pattern I've noticed, and I want to make you aware of that so that you can just achieve your dream. Just goddamn dream. Just achieve it. Just do it. So some practical things besides writing out things is you don't have to make it big and audacious. You can start with baby steps. It's like, okay, well, I have 2 camels at the moment and I want to achieve my own camel trek and do my own camel trek. Well, this weekend for a couple hours, I just might go for a little bit of a wander with my camels down the street or down the road or wherever. Just make it a thing, or even, this weekend, or, when I got some spare time on XYZ day, I'm just going to hang out with my camels for an hour or 2, and just start the process, because those are baby steps. We don't need to be part of this impatient, instant culture where things happen instantly, because you'll never achieve what you want to achieve with camels, because they don't work like that. They're camels. They are on camel time, and they when they feel under pressure, that's when shit hits the fan. That's when they feel pressured and they start having a mini meltdown, and that can look in all sorts of different ways and forms. That could be aggressiveness, that could be a roadblock in your training goals with them, all sorts of things. So your camel dream and goal to do your own camel trek. Start with a feeling. This is what I had to do when I was looking at when I planted the seed idea to do my own camel trek. It was for charity, so that was a motivating factor in itself, and yours might want to be too. Like, if you find that doing it for yourself isn't enough of a motivator, find something to do it for. Like, I want to do this for my kids so that they can see that anything is possible. Or I want to do this for charity. I want to raise money along the way. I want to do something that's close to my heart. Or, I want to do this for my long lost grandmother, who just was such a great influence to me, and I'm still kind of grieving her. And I just want to do this thing just to give myself some space and time, but also do it for her, because she always told me to live out my dreams. You make up your why. But you got to come up with a why as a motivating factor. Otherwise, you won't stick at it. And, and that can 100% be for personal reasons. It's like, some people do it because they struggle with mental health, and I just want to get out and do something for them to help their mental health. And that's 100% okay. People, we've got to get out of this whole selfish culture thing. Sure, there's probably selfish people out there, but I doubt you're one of them. I absolutely doubt it. Very few people are actually selfish. In fact, people these days, I find, well, probably for a long time now, but we don't think about ourselves enough, and then we put everything else and everyone else first, and then we end up being quite miserable in life, and that's just can't happen anymore. Here I am making up all these rules that things can't happen. But we are rule makers, and we are creators of our own life. So make a plan and start with baby steps. You don't have to be a victim to your own dreams and goals anymore. Like I said, I talk to a lot of people, and I'm just hearing them. I'm like, wow, you're literally making yourself a victim to your own. Like, they'll come up with this excuse like, well, I would love to do that, but I don't have camels yet. And then if I had camels, then I probably wouldn't have the time to spend with them. And then if I, had the camels and I did have the time, then I probably wouldn't have the money to invest into education about camels, and like literally making up all the excuses. And trust me, I've been there. I know this story back to front and upside down. Like, I know this story, and you are probably going, oh shit, this woman's reading my mind. We know the story. We know the story, but it doesn't have to be the story anymore. Like, a lot of people don't realize how easy, for lack of a better word, it is to change your story around this stuff. Like, okay, so you don't have the time. Well, let's think of ways you can create more time. You might need a new job that gives you more flexibility and more time, or more money, or all the things. Or maybe if you sold that thing that you haven't used in 10 years, you might have the money to buy the camels and educate yourself on camels. Do you know what I mean? There's never just, it's never just one path. There's all these paths you can take, and you can choose either or, and all of them to help achieve your camel trekking dreams and goals. And it's step by step. Like, this is not going to happen tomorrow, but making small steps and small little goals towards your dreams and goals is definitely something that will create momentum. Like, you're not going to be able in a week's time head out on a big camel trek. There's logistics you got to organize. Obviously, if you don't have camels, you got to have camels, like all the things. Like, let go of this instant culture thing, and trust that it's going to happen if you keep taking these steps. Baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, and it will happen. So I think that's the wisdom I have to offer today. Like, I know I went on a bit of a rant, but I trust you got some value from this. And you got to stop being a victim to your own goals and dreams. Especially we're talking camel treks here. You stop being a victim. Stop making excuses for something you literally thought about yourself and you made up of what you want to do. That's just got to stop. And a lot of that comes down to confidence in yourself. So maybe you just need to build up your confidence, and then you question yourself, well, how can I build up my confidence? That could be listening to this podcast regularly and weekly every time I upload something, being one of those loyal listeners and going every episode or YouTube or social post that Tara uploads, I'm going to make sure I eat it. Oh my God. Read it or eat it or listen to it. Eat it, consume it. Let's just say consume. I'm going to consume it so that I'm one step closer to my camel dreams and goals, because I've told you that's what I'm here to help you do, achieve those really audacious or mini or not major camel dreams and goals. So stop making yourself a victim to that stuff, and everything is behind you. I think it's a lot of a trust factor too, is just trusting that you're doing enough. Like, again, our culture is so about, not trusting our own minds and our bodies, and like, we're so bombarded with what everyone else is doing in their life on social media. It's really hard to actually trust yourself, because you're like, well, hang on, who am I? I'm confused. Like, there's all those things that can come up. So it comes back to trusting yourself, and you might need a break from social media just to gather your thoughts on this, or whatever it is, but come up with your plan, your individualized plan. It's not going to be the same as anybody else's. I could give you all the steps that I took to achieve my camel treks, my camel trekking goals, but at the end of the day, yours is going to look probably very different to mine. You might take bits of what I did and implement into yours, but ultimately it's going to be your plans and that match your desires. So I truly hope for you that you got some value from this episode on how to finally just get something happening with this dream of yours of doing your own camel trek and build that momentum. And it could take a year, it could take 2 years, it could take 5 years, it doesn't matter. And in fact, like, we as humans, we can come up with these things like, oh, I'm going to do it in 10 years or this or that and the other. It's like, well, you know what? Just start and just kind of see where it takes you, because it could happen a lot sooner. With that momentum behind you and all the things that you're doing behind you, it could actually happen a lot sooner than what you think. So I encourage you to just start making a plan, write out steps if you're a writer of those things. and start making plans to achieve this camel trekking goal or dream. If you need help with this, of course I'm here, obviously uploading videos and episodes all the time. But if you are just at that place where you're like, you know what, I just want some one-on-one stuff. Like I'm sick of making excuses. I'm sick of being a victim to my own desires. I've been thinking about this for 3 years already and I just want to do it. Well, I'm also here to help you on more of a consulting basis. And you can find all that information over at my website, Camel Channel. And if you click on shop, there's options there to get a one-on-one with me. Or if you don't know where to start, you can just opt for you actually book an intro call with me, and I can just help you give you direction on where's the best place to start and see if any of my services can help you along the way. So again, all that information is on my website, camelchannel.com. I hope you got a lot of value from this, and please subscribe wherever you're listening and go and make those camel trekking dreams and goals a thing. Just do it. Catch you on the next episode.